Okay. Hello, everyone. This is Stop Losing, Start Trading, the live trade show from the Panoptic team, where we go over the trades that me and Rosie are discussing. The intern is trying to implement them. We've been quite successful over the past few months. And yeah, this is kind of the way that we see options. We want to have people in the audience also understand what options are, how to trade them, and then Rosalie again, which again will go over her trades, but it's very refreshing to see. This has been very successful so far. So yeah, first of all, Rosalie, how are you doing today?
Good. Yeah, I'm doing good. The weekend was nice. I've seen some good kind of market trends. I went to a petting zoo, and yeah, I'm just getting ready to travel, so I'm not in my usual office right now. But yeah, I'm
Yeah,
excited
exactly.
to
So we
catch
will
up.
you will be gone again. Time off. That's fine. But the key point is that when you're trading, one of the problems that people may think is that, oh my god, I have to be every day checking the charts, making sure I can manage my positions, and then it may be even difficult to take some time off because the nature of your trading may seem to be always on. So today, since this is your last day for over the next couple of weeks, we will set some longer dated maybe trends or something that is less risky that may not kind of put you in a bind and won't have you and what you're doing to just look at the charts. And that's the beauty of options. There's a time component where if you want to be extremely active, you do it every day. You can still find something that can work for you that is monthly, even a yearly, semi-passive or very passive, but still in investing. So in your case, this is a good way to kind of get the some of the more not passive but then less involved trades on and let them play out without even having to look because we created them probably. And then get that's something that as an option trader you have at your disposal. You don't have to always be on top of it. You can actually do it in a way that is fairly matches your timeline.
Good. Yeah, I was a little bit worried about that as well. I'll be in Europe, so I can still, access everything. No, I'm not going to the jungle, but yeah, I want to make sure that I can have something, kind of earning a little bit on the side. Well.
Exactly, and that's like 9 to 5. Even trading has a opening bell and closing bell, so you can actually walk away and then you're not worried. That's now in crypto, it's something 24/7. That's a bit more difficult to do, but yes, the beauty of options that you can set up these trades. You can define your risk. You can de-risk if you want. I also was traveling a little bit last week, and I de-risked, meaning that kept all my positions on, but I reduced the size so that even if I could not access my account, I could still sleep easy because I was not as exposed. So very,
Perfect.
very
Yeah.
cool. Let's go. Yeah. Let's do a quick overview of the market. Oh, no, we start with the price of ETH over the past week has been kind of stable. We did see this huge increase in price from 1500 to 1800. Now it's stable. So this is a little what we've seen, that it's always a dislocation on the way or on the way down. Then you have some downtime. I personally am kind of looking for this to enter a position, and then if I mean, it doesn't always work, but at least personally, when there's a big move, people may be more reticent to deploy capital. You could be one of the only ones at this new price range. And again, this has shown that it's been quite stable over the past 6 days, so that you have the staircase on the way up or down. And again, that's what we see in the price of ETH. So when I don't know if you looked at the charts often, but it's very boring over the past week.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I get all the notifications all the time, and yeah, it's always kind of
Oh,
lower than I want it to be. So,
do you have like the Coinbase notifications, or
yeah, I have Coinbase. Yeah.
they send it to me? It's like always this random coin is the biggest loser, -8%. But I
Yeah,
haven't.
I think
Yes,
Sui was the top mover of last week on Coinbase. I get those notifications all day long.
there's all and a lot of times is on the way down. So I don't own the coin. I don't know the protocol that well. Yes, it's down. Who cares? But yeah, in that case, it went up. Uh, Maybe we can have Panoptic's notifications. But yes, most coins have been pretty stable. Again, of course, Bitcoin leading the charge, but down from its Pico top, which was last week. Last week, we did create a position that would start losing money if it went above 95,000. Now it's 93,000, so it's actually right in range.
Oh,
We'll
good.
see. Yeah, we'll see how the interns trade is doing. This was the Ansem trade, so we can actually refer to it as that. So I'm excited to see. I haven't looked at the PL. Very cool. One last thing that I want to highlight as well is the volatility index from the Volmex Finance interface. But the price has been moving quite a bit. Over the past week, you've seen an increase of volatility. It relaxed, so both the price and the volatility have been pretty stable. There's always a push and pull with volatility where it goes up and then slowly down and up again, slowly down. Sometimes this is the tariff spikes. It goes up and down very quickly, but you always see this bleed out. And then a lot of what we expect is something that looks like that, where there's a spike and then it slowly goes down. Here it's been stable, so that means that the market is not complacent. They are still tiny bit on the edge. We were at 72 before the spike. Now it's back at 72, and that seems to move. So that's just the market sentiment may seem to be still a bit uncertain. The new price point, which is 1800 on Ethereum, maybe people don't see this as the final, like the maybe not the final, but the price, which could be stable, but then who knows? So that's why we see something that's a bit more constant.
Is
So,
it since we're trying to look at risk management and kind of something more stable for a longer period of time, is measuring by volatility still a good move for when you're not able to check in as
oh,
often, or
exactly. So historically, you always have to look at volatility with respect to itself. So
yeah.
this is kind of somewhere in the middle of the road type of level, and I would say that since we're not at the lowest lows or a all-time low or an all-time high, I would be comfortable playing it by ear by for the next 2 weeks. If it's at the lowest of the lows, this is when it can explode, and this is when you have to take that risk. If it's at the and then this is something we see even in the VIX or the S&P 500, when it goes down, it's that lowest point. Typically, traders don't want to overextend because this is when there's a crash, an explosion of volatility, you get wiped out. So it's not quite there yet, still. So that I'm fine. If it's the all-time high as well, it does make the price move. But if we're closer to the highs as well, it's fine to keep a position on because you have this downward trend for volatility. Now I'd say that it is fairly. I'm comfortable with this level. Again, it did go down, and if we were on a downtrend, which was pretty intense, like here, then I would be a bit more worried. But it's a bit more stable, so could go either ways. I would even if it's 50-50, I'm comfortable. Whereas the lowest of the lows could be like 45-55. It's not
Yeah.
much, but at least this is not a extremely uh, like you don't have dry powder because the volatility has been so low, and you don't have people being scared because it's so high. Somewhere in the middle, this is where you want to be actually for like managing. And again, the title of this one is managing harvesting volatility in sideways markets. It's similar to that. It's a good sideways market because the vol has been kind of keeping up a little bit.
Good. Okay. Cool. Yeah. I'm
And
curious
just
to see.
let's look at the Bitcoin one just in case. We do have one position in Bitcoin, but Poly tells a similar story. This one might be,
Yeah.
oh yeah, a bit on the low end side. You see, this is the past since year to date, kind of as low as it's been. So this one, we have one position. Maybe we'll close it because this is the Ansem trade that was not working. But this one, I would say, if we were to deploy something, it would be at a reduced size or a defined risk, like a spread, because we're at this kind of low. There's a limit almost. It's a physical limit as to how low it can get, and in that case, it might be 45%. So you won't see it be repressed more. So that means that only place you can go is up. If you're selling options, you can be in a bad place. So
Okay.
yeah, Bitcoin tells a slightly different story for sure. All right, so let's go back to the interns portfolio. Let's see here. So this one is a again for those that are joining. We discuss trades. We have 5 markets in a Panoptic, and this is maybe a good standard size for someone that is intermediate to advanced, meaning that we're really advanced now, and we can advise intern, but it's a good place to be. You have more than one underlying. Of course, you have more in one market, which is HSBC, but we have others that can help us work with us. If we show it in terms of US profits, we have some profits in BTC, some losses in BTC, USDC, profits everywhere. So it evens out. So you have a slightly more broad investment with smaller bets if you want, but they all kind of net out to harvesting yield, making sure that we have we're having the market trying to beat us because we're kind of on all of these different assets, which are color related, but then maybe they can decorrelate. So there we go. So I did close the ticker Bitcoin price, so that might be one where we either open a new one or come leave it be. But we have just deposits. I think we could be on the. We should show maybe the historical, but I think we made a little bit of money here. But yeah, any other market you want to look at first, Rosalie?
No, I think right now, yeah, I'm just curious about BTC ETH and USDC ETH, and want to make sure we have something there for the
Yeah.
time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's start BTC. This is trading the ratio. Ratio is doing all time lows. It seems every day. Uh, but yeah, this is the position. Yeah. What do you see here, and can you contextualize what we should do here?
Yeah, I mean, it looks good. You said we might be losing money in this one. I think we're still in range and we're earning fees.
Yeah,
So
it's
we're
the
actually
BTC
even.
USDC one. But yes, this
Oh,
one.
okay. Yeah,
Yes.
this one looks great. I think even somebody might have bought one of our options and we're earning a little bit more than on Uniswap. So,
We're still back to the exact same price. Actually,
wow.
it's uncanny. Last Friday was the same thing. So this was, yeah, straddle. We're earning some fees. You're selling some puts. Someone is definitely bearish. Someone else is purchasing those puts. They pay you 32% more than Uniswap. So these two legs together, one is 32% more, the other one is 0%, I guess. So 16 in on average. Uh, and so since we're back to the initial point and we happen to catch it here, it's like a free extension almost. This was open for 16 days, but we're back to day zero. So we've been earning fees all the time. So yeah, the
Interesting.
ratio. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are
I'm
you
just
still
trying
bullish,
to.
bearish the ratio, I guess?
Yeah, I think I'm still bearish. I just want to make sure that we are kind of at like a good delta and at a good point
Yes.
of the slope so that we can, continue to capitalize. So I'm not sure if that means we should open another position or kind of manage this one.
Yeah. So yeah, the one thing we can do is to de-risk, as I mentioned. So this one, I think it's fine. It's a small fraction of our portfolio, so I could keep it on. What we would do for risk management is buy another option. Could be buying. I don't know if you see the risk going on the downside or upside, but since we're on this negative slope, maybe we'll buy a call somewhere here to offset. But again, I think the range is 0.14, 0.014 to 0.022, and if we even look at the historical, it is kind of wide, going back to what I mean, never earlier this week, but it's basically what we see here. If I'm trying to move this, 0.022 to 0.014. This is kind of the price range that we can accept and be
Mhm.
profitable. It would still have to go up by another like 20%, 40%, 30%. So I
Okay.
can just let this play out. If you're gone for 2 weeks and we have a good range, I'm okay with just letting this play out.
Cool. Yeah, me too. I think it'll probably. It did. If nothing crazy happened over the weekend, I don't know. I was expecting something to happen, so maybe.
But the ratio is a different thing. Yeah, the last time we had a huge move, the ratio stayed identical. So this is, I
Yes.
mean, good for Ether if you would think about this. But right now, uh, the risk is on the upside. So I don't know if you, I mean, that's right. If you think there is something that will make ETH outperform in the next 2 weeks, and then you're very confident, since we have this solution, I would even buy again a call or create another like maybe short put option. But for now, seems to be.
No. Yeah. I wish, but I don't know. I don't think
The-
so.
I mean, there's the Pectra. Yeah, when is Pectra? There's an update that could happen actually while you're gone. Interestingly, uh, it's supposed to be slated by mid April, mid May. I think May 7th.
Oh,
Okay.
from the Ethereum Foundation?
Yes. So an
Mm.
upgrade. It has a bunch of. I think it's one of the bigger, like most sizable ones. So it has a bunch of improvements for sure. Uh,
I
11 EIPs.
I remember when ETH Point 2.0 was supposed to come out, and I was waiting for so long, and I was so excited, and I was staking all my ETH, and it came out, and then
What happened to the price?
I don't think anything really happened. It was really like it was
It,
really disappointing. But
it's
maybe
all
maybe
priced
I
in.
missed like the technical details there. But no, I
I
don't
think
know.
it is indeed all priced in. I think any binary event that is predictable or known ahead of time, not even the time, whether it's this week or next week, people know it's going to happen. So for any investor that is on the more kind of fundamental side, they bought months ago and they're not ready to sell. Or if they do, it's right after the event saying, okay, this bet paid out. I bought it. It went out 50%. Now I can move. So that's why even sometimes price goes down after news. People are kind of realizing these profits.
But
So
I think, yeah, I think that's probably like the goal as well, right? He doesn't want to be so volatile and like a gambling asset. I think they probably, whatever, Vitalik has in mind, it's something that's more stable and not like a meme. And so maybe that means, it'll kind of just be range bound forever in a range we might not want it
I,
to
I
see.
mean, I personally think that a lot of these cryptocurrencies are commodities or commodities like, and the world cannot survive a 10x increase in the oil barrel of oil price or corn or any commodities. At least maybe less so Bitcoin, but Ethereum has some use cases. Even why we see these huge moves, even in like Solana, is because people want to buy Sol to get to buy XYZ meme coin. So this is kind of natural demand.
Mhm.
But the yeah, I would say that the end state being somewhat range bound. Oh my god, yeah, that's kind of maybe something that is what you want for a commodity like
Yeah.
ETH. So we are on Ethereum mainnet, right? And some people are complaining because the gas is not always as cheap as at layer twos. And currently, gas is very cheap still, but it's like $2 maybe for a position. But I don't know if you saw the announcement. There's a plan. There are plans to increase the throughput of the layer one by 100x
Oh, wow.
over the next 4 years, which means just increasing the gas limits, and more transactions can get in. And of course, demand will grow, but in theory, the price could still go down in the medium to long, to like the short to medium term, because there's going to be a lot more block space,
Okay.
and a lot more interesting use cases, which is what we do at Panoptic. Could be done on mainnet because maybe still going to be $2, but we can do 25 times more throughput per transaction type of thing. So I'm actually very bullish. Still on mainnet, still where the safety and security of the Ethereum will guarantee some level of like high value transaction to happen there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's another one that can come into play if there's 10x more demand, 100x more, 10x more supply, 100x more supply. Maybe people don't need to buy as much ETH. Maybe ETH goes down as well. That's another one. Uh, but yeah. All
Yeah.
right. So
Let's look at the USDC ETH. I'm curious.
speaking of
Okay.
that, yeah. So this one is making $146. We have a pretty healthy kind of two positions in a weird way, but two positions, one working against the other, it seems. But this short call is earning 3x on the fees, which is great. This long call is paying 1.1x. So we're getting paid a slightly higher level on that leg. And it's been making, interesting money too. So what we are doing a bit more and more now is that since we have one market with two positions, it always helps to look at the whole portfolio value, not just each leg individually, but rather if you click on that market, the name there, the market, you can see the whole P&L of that position. And now we can also toggle here the deposits, so that we do have some ETH deposited into that account. So ETH balance and the options that we've sold balance looks like this in terms of P&L. If we don't include ETH, it looks maybe a bit more bearish, but that payoff seems to be kind of working for us. Both legs are earning. Both legs are kind of in the positive territory. Yeah,
So
how do you feel?
yeah, so I have a question about when you include the deposits or not. The way I kind of think about it is that one, I'm actively trading, and that looks more bearish. So if something happens on the bearish side, I can make money on my trades. And then if you include deposits, it looks really bullish, which is just like in case my trades go wrong, then I'm still earning from what I'm holding. And so I don't really need to be worried, right? But I do see that each one, none of these are kind of like very delta neutral. And so
Yeah.
does that mean I should still be maybe a little bit concerned, or is like you lose here but you make here and it just like offsets one another?
Exactly. So I would say that you put this perfectly. Your trades may have a different medium to short term outlook than the long term trades, and that's why one seems to be a bit more bearish on the trade side. But if you do include the deposits, it's more bullish. Normally, if you're a quant trading firm, you may want to be delta neutral, so you include your deposits and your trades together to make the whole thing neutral. I think the Eigen market was one of those that in turn created one trade to make the whole thing neutral.
Hmm.
Um, you could be bullish on both assets. That's why, or in that case, the fact that we have ETH as collateral, and I think we started 50-50 in value. Maybe now the price has gone down since we started, so it's maybe more weighted towards the USDC. But yeah, I would say that the trades and the deposits should work together. And if you're not at all bullish and you think I should not have as much exposure, then yes, we should either trade some options that will make that more little neutral, or we can swap it to be a lot more exposed to SDC as opposed to a lot more exposed to ETH.
Okay.
Uh, so, and then another one is that you can think of the ETH and USDC are two tokens that can flip almost in your head. But if you're bullish ETH, that means you bearish the USDC. That's a different trade as well. But in that case, yes, the net that I would personally be a bit more focused on is everything together, so that you don't have some false hope. Oh, I'm making money on the way down, but all of your real ownership is going down. So that you may have to, again, if you're even bearish or neutral, we may have to create a next one. But I would say that the we've been writing that deposit from when we deposit at whatever 3,500 to 2,000. So the you still have as much buying power per unit of tokens. Price went down, so strikes are at 1,500. You require less buying power than if they are at 3,000. So it does kind of doesn't change how you trade. Actually, you have less value, but you have the same amount of tokens, type of thing. So,
Okay.
uh, but yeah, I think this market is ETH USDC. This is a special one where people may think that USDC is their base asset where they sell back everything to USDC. For instance, ETH, Eigen, ETH, Thicker Bitcoin. You may think ETH is your deposit, so you may have a skew towards a little bit more ETH, a little bit less of that other token. So, but yeah, maybe so. Since we'll try to find time to create one trade. But yes, if we have this is what the price relationship looks like over the next couple of weeks. Quite bullish. So it's if you can see, there's a on the tooltip there's a delta number, and can you I don't know if you can see it on your screen, but
Yeah, is it 79?
yeah, 79. So if the price goes to the moon immediately after we end the stream, your whole portfolio that contains some ETH, USDC, some calls, a lot of those, all of them come together to say you're now holding 0.79 worth of ETH. That's your delta. That's your final exposure. And if the price collapses, goes to zero, you're holding 1.1 ETH on the way down. So this is kind of the risk. We do have a bit more. We have 1.1 on the up on ETH deposit, so the upside has some level of reduction. But yeah, maybe the one question is that if this is the profile, you seem to be holding about one ETH in your wallet. Do you want to make it so that it's less exposed both on the downside and the upside, or are you okay with this and you can create one trade that is offsetting? What do you think?
Um, I think personally, I wouldn't want to be exposed to ETH too much at the moment. I think it would make sense to figure out a way to capitalize on the volatility and the price moves, and
Okay.
not have it work against me, because here it looks like I would lose much more than I would make, and
Yeah.
I it's not going to the moon right after our live stream, so I know
Okay.
that.
And perfect. And maybe just to be sure, we have the risk analysis tab. So yes, it does go to the moon with price of 8,000. So even if you were to leave, that's another one. What's your risk if you were to leave and when you will get liquidated? 8,000, 8K is what it is. So we don't have to worry about that. So, all right, let's get some numbers in our heads now. But yes, the at the money exposure, which is the delta at the current price, is 0.57.
Okay.
It has a higher number above, a higher number below, but currently at the current price is 0.57. So let's create one trade that has negative 0.57 ETH of exposure to make it flat. We'll have something that looks a bit more curved and you have risk on both sides, but then it's going to be flatter on a wide price range. And that's just a slightly better way to handle risk. You don't have exposure on your portfolio level while you're gone. You just have less exposure. Price goes down 10%, you go down 1% type of thing, which is a good place to be when you're not around. So um, there's different strategies. What we want to look at is the bearish ones because of that negative delta. It's bearish. I would say the easiest one is to create a short call. Since a lot of folks are buying call options, we can choose a strike that has a little bit more juice in it and gives you a bit more return. But as I said, we have 0.57. This is what I put as contract. We have to adjust this, but uh, are you? Yeah, if I were to drag this around, there's different level. The delta. What delta do you think we should choose for that price?
Yeah. So this one's 0.48, right? And then
Yeah,
the maybe that one or the one next to it. Let's see.
yeah. So
Yeah,
let's
yeah,
see.
yeah.
In that range, there's a few strikes which are sold already. Few that have people buying it quite a bit. Um, let's see.
Yeah.
The one next one. This one is kind of boring, so I'll go to the next one that has a little bit of buying activity, so it's a bit more juice. This is a 38
1.38.
delta. So 38 delta call, you have what looks like a payoff. If we were to hold this for a week, the trade-off would be around 1950, so around 1925, around that price. You may start losing money, but you'll still earn fees if the price goes all the way up to 2400. And
Mm.
this is kind of what we want to optimize: time in range or price in range. And then the lower end is 1500. In that case, you don't lose if it goes down. So between 1500 and 2400 is the price range. You earn 8% more than Uniswap, and you have something that will rebalance your dollar. So now it's 0.38. So we have to add 0.75 ETH and not 0.38. So, anyways, I changed the number of contracts, but if you sell 1.5 ETH worth of calls, 1.5 times 0.38, this one is actually what we want. 1.5 times 0.38, this is 0.57.
Okay.
So we seeked negative 57 delta, 0.57 deltas. That option will give us that, and it will be paying us between 1500 and 2400. The buying power usage. Oh yeah, we have to spy on them, but yeah, I think the buying power usage is manageable. This is $900 worth of buying power for intern.
Okay.
And again, I'll try to I'll paste this, and if other people for some reason want to get negative 57 deltas, they need paste this in the chat. It's also good for me because I can look back at the YouTube comments and get the exact same trade. Oh, and relay it to intern. This is the trade.
Not financial advice,
No,
but
yeah, 1.5 ETH. That one seems like it's neutralizing your deltas. It's gonna be earning money between 1500 and 2400, which I think is a pretty reasonable price range for a couple of weeks. The one last thing we have to check is the margin size. So this one uses $930 worth of margin.
mm-hmm.
And if we go back to the portfolio page of Intern, they have oh yeah, 4,500 worth of margin. So 900 over 4,500. That would be 20% for that one trade, which would still be maybe on the high side, but I think it's fine for the intern to do this. So
And the other
size,
positions would stay open so that they can all work together, right? And have this delta neutral offset.
yeah, exactly. Actually, let's look. This one has been paying off, and I think it might be like yeah, almost out of range. So, yeah, this one is paying, and it has how many points every four deltas? We're paying. I don't know. Do you think the price is going to go above 2,000 over the next couple of weeks?
No, I don't. And I think, yeah, since we're paying for this one as well, I think to these, for me, they seem more like for hedging purposes, like you're willing to pay for
Yeah.
some sort of insurance. And then when you don't really need it, maybe it's a good time to close. Although insurance is always,
Yeah, but we're paying here. It's almost speculative insurance. We're paying every block,
yeah.
and it did move the way we wanted. So I would also maybe recommend intern to close this one. Close this one. Maybe change the size a little bit of that new trade because this
Yeah.
added some deltas. But yeah, actually, I agree with you. I thought it was closer to being out of range. If it was above 2,000, then it's free option. This is a good one to keep. But yeah, for now, you're also paying 10% more. So yes, I would definitely, yeah.
This is the one that was free that we looked at on Friday, right? Because I remember we had one that we were buying but we weren't paying for it yet. Was that this one?
No, I don't think it's this one.
Okay.
Uh, I is this the BTC? No. Yeah, I don't think so. This one
Okay.
actually. There's one in BTC. Oh yeah, this is it.
Ah, I see. Okay, yeah.
This is the one we
Out of range.
created. There we go. So this is a free option that we created to offset the potential loss of that Ansem trade. We haven't paid anything. So this is a free option that has all of the upside. And again, the downside is capped. So this is the one that we created. The price hasn't moved much, but it hasn't touched the range. So I would also recommend to keep it on. It's a long-term bet, or maybe a medium-term bet on BTC going up, and maybe a hedge against your ETH BTC ratio going down as well. So,
Okay.
but
Yeah,
yeah, so
that looks good. I think, yeah, if we can kind of neutralize
oh,
the USDC ETH positions a little bit more, I'm happy with that. And um, yeah, I don't know,
and
manage this
and
maybe
back to,
just
we
more.
mentioned it a few times. This is the Ansem trade that was created. We started right in the middle. Price went up all the way to 95, but now it's back in it. So that trade also offsets the losses of this position a little bit.
Mhm.
But then since this one is also in range, and I think it's gonna not go exceed 95K soon. So you can still keep it on too. We're earning fees every lot, which is fine. So there's like the more we wait, the more we get paid if you want. So I think that's it. So
Awesome. Okay.
cool. So yeah, Rosalie will be gone. We trust the intern will handle her portfolio well. For those that are here, we'll have Izzy also from the team sub in for Rosalie. We'll still have the show, but Izzy will come in with a Uniswap LP mindset. And it's going to be a totally different entry point than Rosie, which was coming from a meme coin trading mindset. And both of those LP Uniswap trader, meme coin trader can use options, but then the way that you use them has to be tailored a little bit for what you do. So I'm excited about the next couple of weeks with Izzy. Stay tuned for more LP focused content. And maybe with Rosie, we'll have her graduate to her own show because she knows like most of the strategies now, and then we'll hope that again intern continues to listen to her. But yeah, this was great.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I've learned a lot already, and I would love to, teach somebody else. And if you guys have any questions, always just, let us know. Come in our Discord or message us on Twitter. We're also going to be launching on Base, so we have some really exciting things coming up for that. I'm looking forward to trading on Base as well. And yeah, just seeing where
Amazing.
this takes us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm also excited with base. The trading competition will be very, very interesting, getting people engaged, getting people to know options. But yeah, this is very, very cool. All right. So I think we're a bit about 30 minutes, but overall, this was great. Thanks so much, Rosalie. Enjoy your trip, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.